The planet Xylaris was a jewel in the galaxy. Its skies shimmered with pale violet clouds, and its oceans glowed like liquid crystal under the twin suns. Lush forests stretched across continents, home to countless species that thrived in harmony. For centuries, the Xylari had ruled their world with grace, guided by the wisdom of their royal family. Among them was the youngest heir, Princess Lyra, whose gentle spirit and curiosity made her beloved by all. Or so she thought. On this fateful day, the peace of Xylaris shattered. A plague of strange energy pulses swept across the land, disabling cities and frightening even the bravest citizens. Machines stopped working, communications failed, and panic took hold. The Xylari, known for their intelligence and calm, now scattered like frightened animals. Lyra stood on the balcony of the royal palace, her silver hair whipping around her face in the cold wind. Below, she could see the chaos unfold. Citizens, running in every direction, vehicles crashing, and guards abandoning their posts. Her parents, the king and queen, had already retreated to a secure bunker deep within the palace. Lyra, young and inexperienced, had no one to guide her. Princess, where? Lyra. A voice called, frantic. One of the palace attendants, a small alien named Tellan, ran up to her. His eyes were wide with fear. We must leave. The energy pulses are spreading faster than we predicted. Lyra shook her head. I cannot leave without knowing if the others are safe. Her voice trembled, but determination burned in her heart. She could not abandon her people, not even in the face of danger. Tellan hesitated, then bowed. Then I will stay with you, Princess. Whatever happens, I will not leave your side. As they prepared to leave, a massive explosion shook the palace. The walls cracked, and a cloud of violet smoke filled the air. Lyra's heart raced. She knew the energy pulses were not natural. They were weaponized, designed to target her people specifically. Someone somewhere in the galaxy wanted Xylaris destroyed. From the distant horizon, Lyra saw ships descending, sleek, black, and ominous. They belonged to a coalition of interstellar factions, none of whom had ever shown mercy to her people. The ships fired pulses of energy at the fleeing Xylari, scattering the remaining citizens. The palace guards were helpless, and even the royal defense drones malfunctioned under the energy pulses. Lyra clutched Tellan's arm. We need to get to the escape pods, she said. Tellan nodded, guiding her through the smoke and falling debris. They ran through hallways filled with chaos, past guards who were too frightened to act. As they approached the landing bay, Lyra saw dozens of Xylari citizens running for their lives. Yet, to her horror, most were ignored by the ships above. Some were crushed under falling buildings. Others were struck by energy pulses and fell helplessly. Why? Why does no one help them? Lyra whispered. Tears in her eyes. Tellan had no answer. Even he, loyal to the princess, could not explain the cruelty of the universe. Finally, they reached an escape pod. Lyra pressed the launch button, praying it would carry them far enough from the city. The pod shook violently as it rose, into the sky. Outside, she saw the palace crumble, a monument to her people's fading glory. As the pod hurtled into space, Lyra scanned the horizon. Ships from countless civilizations passed by, observing the disaster. Some turned away, some hesitated, but none stopped. None reached out. They are leaving me, Lyra said softly, her voice breaking. Everyone is leaving me. The pod's small viewing window revealed a terrifying truth. Her world, her family, and her people were all being abandoned. Lyra's heart ached, not just from fear, but from the betrayal of silence. Hours passed. Lyra tried to rest, but sleep would not come. The pod's small cabin was cold and empty. Tellan sat beside her, silent, but she could feel his unease. Then, without warning, the pod sensors detected another vessel approaching. It was unlike any ship Lyra had seen, bigger, reinforced, and marked with strange symbols. Its surface bore the scars of countless battles. Unknown vessel approaching, the pod's automated voice announced. Lyra's heart skipped a beat. Is it Is it one of the others coming to help? She asked, hope tinged with fear. Talon shook his head. I do not know, Princess, but we must prepare for anything. The ship's docking sequence began, and to Lyra's surprise, the massive craft extended mechanical arms and gently pulled the escape pod aboard. The cabin's walls shook, but the precision was remarkable. Lyra watched through the pod's window, as the black, battle-worn ship slowly revealed its occupants. Humans. She had heard of them in passing, stories of their wars, their ruthlessness, their reputation as killer humans. They were infamous throughout the galaxy, feared by many civilizations for their aggression and combat prowess. Yet here they were, rescuing her when no one else would. The doors of the pod opened, and a human stepped inside. Tall, muscular, with piercing blue eyes, he introduced himself with authority and calm confidence. I am Commander Rourke. You are safe now. Lyra stared at him, unsure what to feel. Fear, relief, disbelief, all at once. Why are you helping me? She asked, her voice barely audible. Rourke smiled faintly, almost sadly. Because you are helpless, and helpless beings should never be abandoned. That is a choice we humans make, sometimes when no one else will. Talon whispered to Lyra, I do not understand them, but they mean no harm. The humans guided Lyra and Talon through the massive ship. She noticed the walls were lined with advanced technology, weapons resting in every corridor. Yet despite their power, the crew moved with precision and discipline. They did not seem cruel or reckless. They were just humans, doing what they had always done, protecting those who could not protect themselves. Lyra watched them train for battle in a hangar. They moved swiftly, silently, killing targets in practice with sharp precision and coordination. Their reputation as killers seemed both accurate and misunderstood. They were deadly, yes, but only against threats. Against the innocent. They were guardians. Commander Rourke approached her again. You must rest. The journey ahead is dangerous and your survival depends on it. Lyra nodded, still overwhelmed. She realized something profound. These humans, feared across the stars, were the only ones who had not abandoned her. Where her people had fled, where other civilizations had turned away, humans had chosen to act. As she lay down in the small quarters provided for her, Lyra looked out at the stars. Xylaris grew smaller in the distance, its violet clouds fading into the void. She felt a mixture of sorrow and hope. She was alone in the universe, yet not entirely without allies. Talon sat beside her, keeping watch. Princess, do you feel safe? He asked quietly. Lyra nodded slowly. For the first time, yes. But I must learn from them. I must understand why humans fight, why they never leave the helpless behind. Perhaps in them my people can find hope too. Outside the ship, the galaxy stretched endlessly, full of dangers and mysteries. Lyra's journey had only begun. She did not know what awaited her, but one thing was certain. She would not face it abandoned, not while the humans stood beside her. The ship accelerated into hyperspace, leaving the ruined planet behind. And for the first time, Princess Lyra allowed herself a small, cautious smile. Even in a universe that had forsaken her, there were those who would not. And they were humans. The human ship, the Iron Vulture, cut through the stars with relentless speed. Inside, the air was thick with the hum of machinery and the low murmur of disciplined voices. Princess Lyra had spent the first hours simply staring out at the cosmos, trying to comprehend the enormity of her sudden rescue. She had fled a dying planet, abandoned by her people, and now traveled aboard a ship crewed by humans, creatures of legend and fear. Talon remained quietly by her side, ever vigilant. Princess, he said softly, we must adapt. These humans saved us. We owe them trust, at least until we understand them. Lyra nodded, though uncertainty gnawed at her heart. She had been taught that humans were dangerous, unpredictable, and driven by violence. Yet so far they had shown nothing but protection and precision. Their ship was safe, their weapons were disciplined, and their leader, Commander Rourke, spoke with authority tempered by calm judgment. The princess was summoned to a briefing room. The walls of the room glowed with holographic maps of the galaxy, showing planets, fleets, and energy signatures. Rourke stood before her, flanked by his team of humans. Each one seemed carefully chosen, their faces hardened by experience, yet their eyes betrayed intelligence and focus. Lyra stepped forward cautiously. "Commander, I want to understand," she said. "Why did you risk yourselves to save me? Why humans, of all others?" Rourke's gaze was steady. "We choose our battles carefully. Some battles are not about victory or conquest. They are about doing what is right. You were helpless, Princess, and when everyone else abandoned you, we did not." Lyra swallowed, feeling a mixture of awe and disbelief. She had expected arrogance, cruelty, even mockery, but she found none. Only purpose. Telin, still standing near the door, whispered, "These humans, they are unlike any we have met. Perhaps there is wisdom in their fearsome reputation after all." Rourke turned to the ship's tactical officer, a human named Leiden. "Plot a course to the nearest safe system. Keep us under radar until we reach it. We don't know who sent the energy pulses that destroyed Xylaris. We cannot take chances." As the ship sped forward, Lyra had time to observe the humans at work. They moved with synchronized precision, checking systems, repairing minor damage, and running drills. Each movement was confident, purposeful. Even their conversations carried weight. Every word mattered. She realized that these humans were not merely fighters. They were thinkers, planners, and protectors. Days passed in hyperspace. Lyra tried to adapt to her new surroundings, but the routines aboard the ship were foreign. Meals were simple but nutritious. Sleeping quarters were small but clean. Every day she saw the humans training, preparing for threats, and discussing strategies. Their efficiency was intimidating but also inspiring. Finally, Rourke called her to the training deck. The area was vast, lined with holographic combat simulations. Several humans were sparring, testing their skills against virtual opponents. Lyra hesitated at the entrance. "Do not be afraid," Rourke said. "This is training. You will not be harmed." Lyra stepped forward. She had never held a weapon before, let alone trained for combat. But if she was to survive in this galaxy, she needed to learn. Rourke handed her a small energy staff. "Focus, Princess. Combat is not only strength, it is awareness, speed, and strategy. Watch, then move." Lyra watched the humans spar. Every motion was precise, every strike calculated. They moved as a unit, anticipating one another's actions. Then it was her turn. She raised the staff hesitantly. The first swing missed entirely and she stumbled. Lyra felt the weight of embarrassment, but Rourke's calm voice guided her. "Again. And remember, defense is as important as attack." Hours passed. Sweat dripped from her forehead, muscles ached, and every movement felt awkward. Yet slowly she began to improve. The humans corrected her stance, demonstrated techniques, and praised small victories. Lyra realized that despite their reputation as killers, they had patience. They did not mock her, nor rush her. They wanted her to succeed. By the third day, she could perform basic maneuvers with surprising skill. Telin watched silently, pride evident in his eyes. "Princess, you are learning faster than I expected." Lyra smiled faintly. "It is because they believe in me, Telin. Perhaps humans are not what the story said." Her training was interrupted by an alert. The ship's sensors had detected a rogue vessel approaching. Lyra's heart leapt. Was Xylaris' enemy still after her? Rourke's expression hardened. "Prepare for engagement. This may be a test." The humans moved swiftly, boarding combat stations. Lyra observed their tactics with awe. They communicated in short, precise commands. Every team member knew their role. They attacked with strategy, not reckless force. Within moments, the rogue vessel was disabled, forced to retreat. "Do you understand now, Princess?" Rourke asked, his eyes meeting hers. "We fight to protect, not to conquer. We are feared because we are effective. But we choose our battles, with purpose. That is what makes humans strong." Lyra nodded, feeling a deep sense of respect. The humans were indeed dangerous, but not for the innocent. They were dangerous for those who threatened others. And they had chosen her, the helpless, to protect Dot. Over the following days, Lyra began to learn more about human behavior. She watched them in every scenario: training, meal preparation, ship maintenance, and even moments of leisure. They laughed, told stories, and shared memories of distant worlds. Some were lighthearted, others tragic. She realized that humans were shaped by struggle. They had survived countless challenges, and each obstacle had made them both resilient and compassionate. Lyra started to feel a bond forming with the crew, even the quietest among them. A young human named Kyle shared knowledge of navigation and alien species with her. Slowly, she began to see humans not as terrifying killers, but as protectors who had survived by standing together, by helping the helpless, and by never abandoning those in need. Yet doubt lingered in her heart. Her people had been abandoned. Could she truly trust humans when her own kind had failed her? Her question was answered sooner than expected. A transmission from Xylaris's orbit reached the ship. The message was clear. The royal family and other survivors were demanding her immediate return. They blamed her for leaving, for failing to escape with them. Lyra's heart sank. She had survived because humans had chosen to protect her. Yet her people, who had once adored her, now condemned her. Anger and sorrow burned within her chest. Talon placed a hand on her shoulder. "Princess, they have abandoned you once. The humans, they have not. You must decide who deserves your trust." Lyra clenched her fists. I choose them. If they had not acted, I would be dead. I owe them my life." Rourke noticed her resolve. "You are learning quickly, Princess. Survival is more than strength. It is trust, decision, and courage. You have all three." As days passed, the humans continued to train her. She learned to operate weapons, understand basic tactics, and even navigate the ship's controls. Lyra discovered that humans were adaptable. They thrived in uncertainty, and each challenge was an opportunity to grow. Their killer reputation was earned in battle, yes, but it was tempered with intelligence, loyalty, and discipline. One night, Lyra looked out at the stars once again. She reflected on her journey, the abandonment, the danger, and the humans who had saved her. She realized that she had been given a second chance, not just to survive, but to learn, to grow, and perhaps one day, to lead her people with the wisdom she gained from humans. Talon sat beside her, whispering, "Princess, you are changing. You see them as I see them, as allies, not monsters." Lyra nodded. "Yes, they are not killers in the way I feared. They are guardians, and perhaps in them I can find a way to restore hope for my people." But the galaxy remained dangerous. Lyra knew that more threats awaited, and that her training was only the beginning. She would need every skill, every lesson, and every ally to face the challenges ahead. Yet for the first time, she felt prepared. Not because she was strong alone, but because she was no longer alone. She had humans beside her, fearsome, disciplined, and unyielding humans who had chosen to fight for her when the universe had turned away. And in that choice, Princess Lyra found hope. The Iron Vulture glided silently through the darkness of space. Princess Lyra had begun to feel more comfortable among the humans, yet a quiet tension lingered in the air. Commander Rourke had summoned her to the bridge early that morning. "Princess," Rourke said, his expression serious, "we are approaching a quarantined planet. Reports indicate rogue mercenaries and mutated fauna. You will join us on this mission. This is not a training exercise, it is a real test of your skills and courage." Lyra's heart pounded. She had trained with humans, learned their tactics, and practiced combat maneuvers, yet nothing could fully prepare her for facing real danger. She looked at Talon, who gave her a reassuring nod. "We are ready, Princess." he said softly. The ship descended into the atmosphere of the quarantined planet, a world scarred by previous conflicts and neglect. The surface was jagged with deep canyons and twisted forests. Toxic mists rose from the ground, and the air shimmered with faint energy pulses. The humans moved with precision, landing their craft in a secure zone hidden among rocky cliffs. Lyra stepped out, her energy staff in hand. Her eyes widened at the desolation surrounding them. This was no ordinary mission. This was survival. Rourke spoke quietly. Remember, Princess, observe first. Defense comes before offense. Trust your instincts, but also trust us. We will not leave you behind. Lyra nodded. The words gave her courage, but as they ventured deeper into the toxic forest, the first wave of threats appeared. Strange, mutated creatures, tall, spindly beings with glowing eyes, emerged from the shadows. They moved quickly, their claws slicing through the thick mist. The humans formed a protective formation around Lyra. They did not panic. Their movements were synchronized, almost instinctive. Lyra felt a mixture of fear and awe as they dispatched the creatures with precision. Each human worked as part of a unit, their skills complementing one another. Princess now, Rourke instructed, use your staff. Target their energy cores. Lyra took a deep breath and swung the staff. A beam of focused energy shot from the tip, striking a creature squarely. It fell, and Lyra felt a surge of exhilaration. She had acted decisively, not out of fear, but out of determination. As they moved forward, the rogue mercenaries revealed themselves. Heavily armed and ruthless, they fired energy blasts toward the humans. Lyra ducked behind a boulder, her pulse racing. Rourke shouted commands and the humans advanced. Lyra observed their strategy. They did not attack recklessly. They used terrain, coordinated strikes, and feints to outmaneuver their enemies. Every human had a role, and every move was calculated for maximum efficiency. Lyra realized that the humans' reputation as killers was misleading. They were not reckless or cruel. They were disciplined, protecting the helpless while neutralizing threats. Princess, cover our flank, one of the humans, Kale, called out. Lyra moved, cautiously, staying low, her staff ready. She focused on her surroundings, anticipating danger. When a mercenary tried to flank them, she struck with precision, knocking him unconscious. Rourke approached her. Well done. You are learning quickly. Lyra's confidence grew, but the dangers did not end. As they reached a canyon, a massive, mutated creature emerged from the mist, a towering beast with armored skin and glowing eyes. The humans readied their weapons, but the creature's size and speed were intimidating. Princess, you can help, Rourke said. Aim for the joints. They are less protected. Lyra's hands shook, but she obeyed. She focused, remembered her training, and struck the creature's knee with a strong energy blast. The beast roared in pain, stumbling back. The humans seized the opportunity, attacking in unison and driving it away from the team. Lyra realized something important. Humans fought with strategy, not just strength. They calculated every move, protected one another, and ensured that even the weakest among them, herself included, had a role in the battle. After the fight, the team moved to the heart of the rogue base. Inside, Lyra saw the true threat. AE, device capable of creating energy pulses similar to the ones that destroyed Xylaris. The mercenaries were attempting to weaponize it, endangering countless planets. Rourke turned to Lyra. This is your moment. You must lead the way and disable the device. We will support you, but the final decision is yours. Lyra swallowed, hard. The responsibility was immense. She glanced at Tellen, who nodded encouragingly. She took a deep breath, steadied her hands, and stepped forward. The humans followed her lead, covering her as she approached the device. With careful precision, Lyra examined the machine. Its energy readings were unstable, pulsing dangerously. Using knowledge from her studies of alien technology, she began deactivating the device. Every moment was tense. One mistake could trigger a massive explosion. Suddenly, a group of mercenaries attacked. Lyra froze for a fraction of a second, but the humans acted instantly. They formed a defensive wall, fending off the attackers while Lyra focused on the device. Their movements were synchronized, almost choreographed, each strike efficient and purposeful. Lyra's heart raced as she worked. Sparks flew, alarms blared, and the room shook from minor explosions. But she did not falter. She remembered Rourke's words. Defense comes before offense. Trust your instincts. Trust us. Finally, with a precise sequence of energy manipulations, Lyra shut down the device. The alarm ceased and the mercenaries realized their plan had failed. They fled, leaving the humans and Lyra victorious. Breathing heavily, Lyra turned to the team. We did it, she said, awe and relief mixing in her voice. Rourke smiled faintly. Yes, Princess. Together we did it. And you have shown courage beyond your years. Talon stepped forward, pride shining in his eyes. Princess, you led them. You are no longer just a helpless child. You have grown into a capable leader. Lyra looked at the humans, her respect deepening. They had risked their lives for her, guided her, and fought with discipline and loyalty. She understood now that humans were not only fierce warriors, they were protectors who fought not for glory but for what was right. As they exited the rogue base, Lyra realized something profound. Survival was not about strength alone. It was about trust, teamwork, and moral courage. The humans had taught her that even in a universe filled with danger and abandonment, there were beings who would fight for the helpless. That night aboard the Iron Vulture, Lyra reflected on the trial by fire she had endured. She had faced real danger for the first time and had survived, not just because of her own abilities, but because she had allies who would not abandon her. Rourke approached her quietly. Princess, the galaxy is harsh. Your people may not always understand or support you, but remember this. Humans fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. That is our strength, and perhaps one day, it can be yours too. Lyra nodded, determination rising in her chest. She would learn from the humans not just to survive, but to lead. She would honor their courage, their loyalty, and their unyielding will to protect the helpless. As the ship drifted through the stars, Lyra knew the challenges ahead would be greater. Other enemies, unknown and dangerous, awaited her, and the humans. Yet for the first time she felt ready. Not because she was strong alone, but because she was no longer alone. The humans, once feared across the galaxy as killers, had revealed a truth that no legend had conveyed. True strength was not in destroying others, but in protecting the weak, guiding the helpless, and standing firm when everyone else turned away. Lyra closed her eyes, letting the lesson sink, and she would survive, she would grow, and one day she would lead her people with the wisdom she had gained from humans, fearless, loyal, and unyielding. The trial by fire was over. The real journey had only just begun. The Iron Vulture hovered silently above the surface of a remote planet, its engines casting pale light on jagged rocks below. Princess Lyra stood at the observation deck, her silver hair brushing her shoulders, her hands clenched into fists. Ahead lay the enemy stronghold, a massive fortress surrounded by energy barriers and armed drones. Inside, her people were imprisoned, their survival uncertain while a powerful weapon threatened to annihilate Xylaris completely. Lyra's heart pounded, but she felt a sense of calm too. The humans were beside her, disciplined and ready. Commander. Rourke approached, his piercing blue eyes scanning the fortress. Princess, he said quietly, this is the final stand. Every move must be precise. Our goal is simple. Rescue your people and disable the weapon. But remember, nothing is without risk. Stay alert. Lyra nodded. She had trained, she had fought, and she had learned the strength of humans. Now, she would see it in action at its highest level. The humans assembled their plan. Some would create a diversion, drawing the enemy away from the stronghold. Others, including Lyra and Talon, would infiltrate the fortress to reach the imprisoned Xylari and neutralize the weapon. Every human knew their role. Every action had purpose. As they approached the fortress in stealth pods, Lyra's nerves tingled. The energy barriers pulsed ominously, and guard drones patrolled the perimeter. Yet the humans moved with precision, disabling sensors and clearing paths silently. Lyra followed Rourke's lead, her staff ready. She had never felt more focused. Inside the fortress, alarms blared. The mercenaries had detected intruders, but the humans were prepared. They struck with speed and coordination, neutralizing threats before the enemies could fully react. Lyra observed their tactics. They were fearless, disciplined, and unwavering. Their killer reputation was evident, but it was tempered with strategy and protection for those who could not defend themselves. Lyra and Tellen reached the central holding chamber. Through reinforced glass, they saw the Xylari prisoners. Scared, weak but alive, Lyra's heart ached. "We will get you out," she whispered. She focused, using her alien knowledge to bypass the chamber's security systems. The doors clicked open, and the prisoners stumbled out, guided by Lyra and Tellen. Suddenly, the room shook as enemy reinforcements arrived. Lyra froze for a moment, but the humans were already in position. Kale and 2 others blocked the entrances, moving with precision and force. The humans were deadly, yes, but they were careful. No prisoner was harmed. Lyra realized something important. Humans did not fight recklessly. They fought with intelligence, loyalty, and unwavering courage. Their strength was not just in their weapons, but in their choices. They chose to protect. Even in the midst of chaos, the team advanced deeper into the fortress, approaching the weapon, a massive energy generator pulsing with destructive power. The mercenaries guarding it were heavily armed, but the humans attacked with coordination and purpose. Lyra observed, learning their methods, then joined the fray. Using her staff and alien skills, she struck with precision, disabling drones, and aiding the humans. Rourke watched her with quiet approval. "You are becoming a leader, Princess. Keep focus. The device is our priority." As they reached the weapon, a final wave of mercenaries appeared. The humans formed a defensive circle. Around Lyra, their movements synchronized. She realized the full truth. Humans did not abandon anyone. They would fight to their last breath to protect the helpless, and she, the once abandoned princess, was proof of that principle. Lyra approached the weapon. Its energy readings were unstable, and a single wrong move could trigger a catastrophic explosion. Her hands shook, but she remembered her training, the lessons from Rourke, and the humans' courage. She had learned strategy, timing, and precision. Slowly, she disabled the weapon step by step until the energy pulse stopped and the device powered down. The fortress trembled as the remaining mercenaries realized their plan had failed. The humans and Lyra moved swiftly, leading the prisoners out. Every step was calculated, every move disciplined. Lyra saw the humans' bravery in full, unflinching, selfless, and unwavering. As they neared the exit, a massive explosion rocked the fortress. Debris fell around them, and Rourke was caught in the blast. Lyra rushed to him, her staff glowing as she shielded him from falling debris. Tellen and the humans helped lift Rourke to safety. The commander was injured, but conscious. "Princess," Rourke whispered, his voice strained, You did well. Humanity's strength is in protecting those who cannot protect themselves. Never forget that." Lyra nodded, tears in her eyes. "I won't. You taught me more than I could have learned alone. You saved my people." The humans evacuated the prisoners quickly, using stealth pods and careful coordination. Lyra guided her people, encouraging them, showing courage she had gained from the humans. The Xylari, once abandoned, now felt hope. Outside, the fortress erupted in fire and smoke, a reminder of the danger they had overcome. Lyra watched, her heart heavy with loss, but filled with pride. She had faced real combat, learned from the humans, and protected her people. As they reached the Iron Vulture, Rourke addressed the team. "We have succeeded because we fought as one. Every member did their part. And Princess Lyra, today, You proved that leadership is more than command. It is courage, wisdom, and the choice to protect the helpless. Lyra looked at the humans, feeling a deep connection. They were not only fighters, they were protectors, teachers, and allies. They had risked everything for her and her people. Their reputation as killers no longer frightened her. Instead, it inspired her. That night, aboard the Iron Vulture, Lyra reflected on the battle. She had learned that survival was not about power alone. It was about strategy, loyalty, and courage. She had seen humans at their most disciplined and selfless, and she understood that their strength lay not only in their skill, but in their unwavering commitment to those who could not defend themselves. Talon approached her quietly. "Princess, your people look to you now. You have grown beyond the helpless child who fled Xylaris. You have learned from the humans, and you will lead your people with their lessons in mind." Lyra nodded. "Yes, Talon, I will not forget. We were abandoned before, but now we know that courage and loyalty exist. Humans have shown me that even in the darkest times, hope can be protected." Outside the ship, the stars stretched endlessly. Lyra realized that the galaxy was full of danger and uncertainty, but also full of allies who would stand firm when others turned away. The humans had shown her the meaning of strength, not just in combat, but in choice, loyalty, and protection. 4. The first time Lyra truly understood what it meant to lead. She would not rely on fear, deception, or abandonment. She would lead with courage, strategy, and loyalty, the principles she had learned from humans. The final stand was over. The weapon was destroyed, her people were safe, and Lyra had grown stronger. But the journey was not complete. The galaxy was vast, and new challenges awaited. Yet, Princess Lyra was no longer helpless. She had humans beside her, disciplined, fearless, and unyielding humans who had risked everything to protect her, and in that protection, she had discovered a power far greater than any weapon: the courage to stand, the wisdom to lead, and the hope to inspire her people. As the Iron Vulture soared into the stars, Lyra gazed at the horizon, ready to face whatever came next. She was no longer abandoned, no longer powerless. She was a leader, forged by fire, and guided by humans who had shown her the true meaning of strength. And she knew, without doubt, that humanity's greatest strength was not in destruction, but in standing with the helpless when no one else would. The stars stretched endlessly before the Iron Vulture as it left the quarantined planet behind. Princess Lyra stood at the observation deck, her silver hair glinting in the soft glow of the ship's controls. Around her, humans moved with calm, precision, their focus unwavering. She no longer saw them as terrifying killers, but as warriors, teachers, and protectors who had saved her when the universe had abandoned her. Beside her, Talon spoke softly. "Princess, your people are waiting. What will you say to them? Will they listen to you now?" Lyra's eyes narrowed, a mixture of resolve and hope shining within them. "I will speak, Talon. They abandoned me once, but now I know the meaning of courage, loyalty, and protection. If they cannot see that, perhaps it is time they learn from those who do." The Iron Vulture traveled at hyperspeed toward Xylaris, carrying Lyra, her loyal attendant, and the team of humans who had become her mentors and allies. Every second, the young princess felt the weight of responsibility grow heavier. Her people's future rested not only in her hands, but in the lessons she had learned from humans: the courage to act, the wisdom to lead, and the strength to protect those who could not protect themselves. As they approached the planet, Lyra saw the devastation with her own eyes. Cities lay in ruins, forests were scarred, and rivers glimmered with unnatural energy. Yet among the destruction, there were signs of life. Survivors emerged cautiously from shelters, their eyes filled with fear, grief, and uncertainty. Lyra stepped onto the surface, supported by Talon and accompanied by Rourke and his team. The humans' presence immediately commanded attention. Their reputation as killers preceded them, and the remaining Xylari regarded them with a mixture of awe and apprehension. Lyra raised her voice strong and clear. "People of Xylaris, I stand before you not as a helpless child, but as your princess. You abandoned me when our world fell into chaos, yet I survived. I survived because humans, fearsome and powerful, chose to protect me when no one else would. They fought for the helpless, guided me, and helped me see the courage we all can hold. The crowd was silent, listening intently. Some gasped, unable to reconcile their beliefs about humans with the truth Lyra spoke. Others lowered their heads in shame, realizing that their own fear and indecision had left her alone. Rourke stepped forward. Xylari, we are humans. We are often feared because of our strength and resolve, but our greatest strength is the choice to protect the helpless. Today, this young princess proved courage is not about age, race, or power. It is about action, loyalty, and standing firm when others turn away. Lyra's people began to murmur among themselves. Whispers of awe and regret spread through the crowd. They saw not only Lyra's bravery, but also the humans' unwavering loyalty. Talon spoke beside her. Princess, they are listening. Perhaps they will understand now. Lyra nodded. She knew that action spoke louder than words. To show her people the meaning of loyalty and protection, she began organizing relief efforts with the humans. Together, they rebuilt shelters, provided medical care, and restored basic infrastructure. Every day, Lyra worked alongside humans and Xylari alike, demonstrating leadership, courage, and compassion. The humans taught her people practical skills, defensive tactics, energy manipulation, and strategic thinking. Lyra realized that humans did not fight merely to win battles. They fought to prepare others, to protect the vulnerable, and to ensure the survival of those who could not stand alone. Their killer reputation was only part of their identity. The true human strength lay in selflessness and discipline. Months passed and Xylaris began to heal. Forests regenerated, cities were rebuilt, and the rivers shimmered with renewed energy. The survivors, inspired by Lyra's courage and the humans' example, found hope once lost. One day, Lyra gathered her people in the central plaza. You have seen what courage and loyalty look like, she said, her voice clear and strong. You have seen humans risk everything for me, a helpless princess when no one else would. Let their example guide us. We must care for one another, protect the weak, and face the future together. This is how our world will endure. Her words resonated deeply. The Xylari began to adopt new principles, inspired not only by Lyra's leadership, but also by the humans' steadfast example. They learned that strength was not measured by power alone, but by the courage to act, the wisdom to choose, and the willingness to protect those who cannot defend themselves. Lyra walked through the city one evening, observing the humans as they coordinated relief missions and trained the survivors. She noticed Rourke, still recovering from his injuries during the final stand, directing the humans with calm authority. Despite their legendary toughness, he moved with a purpose rooted in care, not cruelty. Lyra approached him. Commander Rourke, I will never forget what you have done. You and your team showed me that courage is not only about fighting, it is about loyalty, wisdom, and protecting those who cannot protect themselves. Rourke smiled faintly. You have learned quickly, Princess. And now, your people will too. The galaxy is vast, full of dangers and unknown challenges. But with the lessons you have learned, and the courage you have shown, your people can thrive. And humans will continue to help when they can, though our paths may diverge. That is the choice we make. Lyra nodded, understanding the truth in his words. Humans traveled the stars, facing dangers and protecting the helpless wherever they could. They would not abandon those in need, yet they could not stay forever. Days later, the humans prepared to leave Xylaris. Lyra and her people gathered at the spaceport. There was gratitude, respect, and silent admiration in the eyes of every Xylari. Rourke addressed them one final time. We leave now, but remember this. Strength is not measured by fear or conquest. It is measured by loyalty, courage, and the choice to stand with the helpless. Princess Lyra embodies these values. Follow her example and your world will endure. Lyra stepped forward. Thank you. You have not only saved me, but you have taught my people and me the meaning of courage. Your actions will inspire generations. Humans are feared across the galaxy, yet they are the guardians of the helpless. That is your true legacy. The humans boarded the Iron Vulture, their engines humming with power. The ship lifted off, leaving the planet and its grateful citizens behind. Lyra watched until the vessel disappeared into the stars, a symbol of strength, loyalty, and hope. In the following weeks, Xylaris continued to rebuild. Inspired by Lyra and the humans' example, the people became more united, more courageous, and more determined to protect one another. Lyra trained alongside her people, sharing the lessons she had learned: discipline, strategy, and the importance of standing firm when others turn away. Talon spoke to her one evening. "Princess, you have changed. You are no longer the helpless child abandoned on Xylaris. You are a leader, wise beyond your years, shaped by humans who showed you true courage." Lyra smiled. "Yes, Talon, and now it is my responsibility to guide my people, to teach them what humans have shown me. Strength is not just in battle, it is in protecting, in leading with loyalty, and in having the courage to act when others would abandon the helpless." Months turned into years. Lyra became a respected ruler and her people flourished. They never forgot the humans who had risked everything for her. Stories of the killer humans spread across the galaxy, not as tales of fear, but as legends of courage, loyalty, and protection. Lyra often looked to the stars, remembering the ship that had saved her life and taught her the meaning of true strength. She knew the galaxy was full of dangers, but also full of beings who, like humans, would choose to stand with the helpless. One night, she stood atop the rebuilt palace balcony, gazing at the shimmering stars. Her people slept safely below, guided by her leadership and inspired by the humans' example. Lyra whispered quietly, a promise to herself and to the galaxy: "I will protect the helpless, guide my people, and honor the lessons humans have given me. Even in a universe that may turn away, I will stand firm. And one day others will see that courage, loyalty, and protection are the true measures of strength." The stars twinkled in response, vast and endless, as if the galaxy itself acknowledged her vow. Lyra, once abandoned, had become a beacon of hope. The human's legacy lived on, not only in her heart, but in the hearts of her people, and in the story of a galaxy that had learned what it truly meant to stand for the helpless. And thus, Princess Lyra, guided by the courage of humans, ensured that even in a universe of abandonment and fear, hope, loyalty, and courage would endure forever.